regional icon series. And I want to hear your thoughts, Riku, on what you think about the jungle for both One Team Esports and Cerberus Esports.
Yeah, I think, Lee Sin will definitely be one of the contested picks, but we saw how one team sort of shifted that towards the side and picked a different, more reserved type of composition. But here it is, one team removing Kai'Sa right away. This is exactly the same approach that we saw when Impunity faced off against Cerberus. They immediately banned the Kai'Sa. Now Cerberus will fall back into this usual Ezreal pick, rather, or maybe Tristana on the different options for Genza over here. And now, there you go. One team will take the Tristana instead.
Definitely, they used it yesterday and it has won them the game. And having it once again, One Team Esports is confident having Tristana in their composition, having a comfortable pick going into Ninja 7. But Cerberus Esports, you know what? Leave it open. We're going to pick up Gragas and the Lee Sin.
Looking pretty strong and aggressive so far with the Lee Sin and the Gragas pick. But of course, one team likes to have taking that Janna for themselves just to make sure that they have a strong disengage and a safe neutral lane with this Garen pick for sure. At top side, whatever Cerberus is going to pick, most likely, I mean, the Akali is still open, but we never got to see it in day number 1.
And the Nami from Cerberus Esports is amazing. They used it yesterday, and those tidal waves keep on connecting when it comes to the 5v5. And we might expect the same thing coming from Fly for this matchup. But Renekton to finish the draft off for Cerberus Esports and One Team Esports locking on to the Yana and also Vi. And this is going to be a draft worth noting for. And now, it's going to be game number 1 for day number 2 just around the corner.
It's gonna be super explosive. I mean, you have Taco in the mid lane with this Gragas, and the fact that BMM and Faye is on a strong jungle and top lane duo. Renekton and Lee Sin, I am expecting a bunch of tower dives over here, but at the same time, you're up against Kid on this Garen, so it's gonna be a little bit difficult to sorta, eliminate and feed off of this Garen on Kid.
And now, we're jumping into the rift as everything is on stake for One Team Esports and Cerberus Esports for day number 2 to break the tie.
Now they're currently all over in the mid lane, as we can see. Faye is going to be starting on his red so far. A little bit standard start for both of these junglers, but not so much for the rest of the laners.
Yeah, the 4-man roam is an early aggression coming from these two teams. I mean, you have Nami to go for the bubble circle, to just lock in onto those champions in the same way. You have Siu that has a lot of potential when it comes to level 1 as well. So having those rotations are actually pretty strong. And considering that you have a swap in lanes, you have a swap in sides, both these teams are going to adapt onto it. Now bringing onto the dual lane in the Baron lane instead.
Yeah, we were talking about, potential tower dives perhaps for a Kid, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult. We're looking at BMM already getting that level 2 early, so being able to exchange and dish out. Ninja 7, though, pretty low up against, Genza over here on this court piece, so a ton of poke and sustain as well.
It's not going to be Faye actually going in to go for the flank, but no. We have the rocket jump. Ninja 7 will save his life.
It's gonna be K for now, but actually not so much because Ninja 7 and Siu already consumed their summoner spells. No heal, no flash anymore. So Faye definitely gonna be expecting more ganks on top side, and it's absolutely gonna be scary.
Scary indeed, as Faye is actually going in for like the quadrant of Cerberus Esports in the red buff and also their own blue buff. And this is like a vertical split wherein you have Faye just hovering on to the Baron lane because you have the dual lane, and this is sort of the valuable lane wherein Cerberus Esports can capitalize. But also Xian Yo, you now see him go and pat his way onto top as well to try and match up those early aggression coming from Faye, especially considering that you have an early lead from Faye as a Lee Sin at level 4 already. And this is an early game champion, and you cannot belittle how much he can do at level 3, at level 4.
Exactly, especially, paired up with a Renekton, level 3, incredibly strong, level 5 as well with the Dominus activated. So he can pretty much, we talked about the dives, he can pretty much tank a bunch of turret hits and sort of eliminate anyone who's going to be caught under tower. And yeah, so far so good for the Cerberus dual laners as the bubble
Will now connect onto Ninja 7, but still survive, half HP. But One Team Esports, you know what? They're hovering under turret. We don't care. We're risk-free, hovering just in under our very own tier 1. And they're safe. No first blood as of yet. I mean, we saw this yesterday, right? One Team Esports, Cerberus Esports in another series. We went to 8 minutes before we even saw the first blood coming through. And I think we might expect it today once again, having those safe plays coming in from these two teams.
Yeah, definitely. No one wants to let go of that first blood for sure. Want to be a little bit more careful. And the reason why, Faye, we didn't get to see a little bit more of that aggression, aggressive invades rather, it's because of Baya here in the mid lane, keeping that priority, which means Faye is definitely put on bait.
Yeah, definitely. And I think having, sort of the melee champion in the mid lane for One Team Esports and having the mobility of a Diana, you can't just burst them down. And I think that is also in addition to the one of the many reasons that how Faye is hovering into the barrel lane a while ago, trying to target sort of the weak spot of One Team Esports, because Tristana is not that great when it comes to early game, and this is sort of built into his skill kit already. He requires those 2 core items, 3 core items to receive the power spike, and I think Lee Sin needs to capitalize on it if they want to bring down One Team Esports very early on. But still, no first blood as of yet, no ganks, no hardcore pushes will still be done. Pretty much nothing is currently happening. Standstill for these two teams.
Yeah, it's so difficult. I feel like, for Cerberus to be a little bit more aggressive, they have to keep an eye on CU for sure, as there's just a ton of peel. There's the Monsoon, there's the Howling Gale as well to just create space for Ninja 7. And I feel like that's the reason why, 4 minutes into the game, we see a Vi, we see a Lee Sin. Usually we get to see pre-4-minute action. But so far, Cerberus, though, is going to start this dragon.
Yeah, and this might change things today. This might change the story of this match, as we have Stianyo actually going in, Vault Breaker in, forces out the flash because the tidal wave was there. And Cerberus Esports now gets them out and Dragon first objective into the game for their team.
For one team, they will definitely rely heavily. Okay, I thought there was going to be more action in the mid lane, but their primary engage will definitely fall in the hands of Shanyo on this assault and battery. So a lot of the single target. There's also Baya when he comes in with the Moonfall, but at the same time, he is going to meet Taku. He's going to meet BMM here on the Renekton. So it's so awkward to find these prime opportunities to go in because there's just two scary frontliners that will basically squish you in a jiffy.
Yeah, and I want to put a quick point onto that one because Lee Sin, Taku, and even BMM rather, can actually cancel out the Moonfall. You have Renekton with a stun. Faye can go for the kicks. Taku can go for the explosive cast, and Moonfall will now be obliterated. And if you're looking at One Team Esports' draft, they have only a couple of CC potential, and that is in the hands of Baya, Sianyo, and SIU. If they don't bring it in, it's not gonna be that great. And I think this is also the reason why they're actually waiting patiently on the right opportunity, try to bait up some ultimates first from Cerberus Esports, and considering how they drafted more on the mid-game, late game, because Tristana, Baya needs those items, they're not really going for those aggressive type of game style. And Cerberus Esports is sort of capitalizing onto Faye as an early game champion.
That's true. They can either focus on catching people off guard, any of the stragglers from Cerberus with their... Never mind.
Cool. It's now going to be Tidal Wave going in for the 4-man knockup. Cerberus Esports is now collapsing onto One Team Esports. They are splitting apart. The first blood comes in for Cerberus. The Vietnam region is going in as Baya will be forced to back away, and that will be the early lead for Cerberus Esports.
And that's the thing, they get the Rift Herald. Rather, it was one team that is able to secure the Rift Herald, but Cerberus is most likely looking into getting First Blood Tower. They're definitely gonna hammer this down. For one team, at least they do have this consolation prize of exchanging and opening things off of the map, as we can see at the bottom part, where Shanyo would most likely unleash that Rift Herald. So if you open the bottom portion of the map, at least it gives you a little bit more space to take the second dragon, because it was Cerberus that was able to get a lot of space.
Definitely, that will be sort of the situations that one team esports can do. Either you can go for the dragon priority, or either you can go for the trade-off onto towers. But I don't think they're gonna do it anytime soon. It's gonna be the Moonfall going for the two-man knockup, but they're going under the turret. Not the most ideal way to do it. And now it's gonna be Cerberus Esports still gonna be alive for another day. One team esports still left with no kills.
That could have gone even worse for one team because Taco was just 2 seconds away from getting his explosive cask back online. So it was so scary for one team, and they were able to escape, even though they so desired to sort of open up the bottom portion of the map.
And now we have one team esports forced to go into a three-man roam into the mid lane because you have Cerberus Esports now going for hard aggression against one team esports. I mean, you have Genza having the Manamune already, and that's gonna put him at a very good advantage into spamming his skills. And as we all know, Corki is not the best of champions when it comes to mana consumption, and having that Manamune gives you like 1,200 mana if you complete it into the Maramune, and you also have that 25 ability haste, which you can utilize into spamming your Missile Barrage, into spamming your Valkyrie, and your other skills that can actually dominate how one team esports wants to do it. And I think also putting a quick point on the same player, Genza with a Corki can target onto those tanky champions, specifically onto Kid, because of the Gatling gun that can down physical resistance. But now into the mid lane, we have Garen just going for the defense, zoning out the enemy team. Cerberus Esports still on top.
That's true. A little bit of the innate shred will help deal with Xianyo and Kid, especially Xianyo opting over for that tanky path for himself, having over the Sunfire already for both of this jungler and top. We talked about this, one team now has first dibs on the dragon.
But now it's gonna be Taku zoned out of the way because he is the only one remaining. But now it's gonna be the rest of the crew coming right on top. Special delivery coming into the riverbed. That will just confuse the enemy team on how they want to do it. Moonfall will only connect onto one as we have Bam now coming in, disrupting the enemy team, and that will be one team esports forced to back away once again as Cerberus Esports screw them up. They just catch them up, and now it's gonna be the Cloud Dragon being set it up by Cerberus Esports.
Yeah, for one team, usually, want to get one pick before having a comfortable maybe 4v5 position to actually pursue the dragon and have a better chance at winning the fight. Cerberus is just so good, has so many tools. They've got the tidal wave, they've got the explosive cask, they've got BMM as well to sort of frontline while using that dominance. And that's the reason why they're showing a lot of struggle. Baya, unfortunately, could not find the perfect timing for the Moonfall and had to use it defensively. They need the perfect setup, but at the same time, this is a little bit awkward for them because we talked about this. Baya, when he goes in, will be greeted by Taku and BMM, or will get eventually kicked by Faye, and that's what exactly we saw in that fight.
Yeah, and I think it's basically weighing out the risk and benefit. You know what? Mountain Cloud Dragon is going to be the first two objectives. One team esports, they need to check out those late game power spike. If they dive in, you're just leading BMM to gain those two core items. You have Faye as an early game champion, so they're thinking, you know what, we can't match them up when it comes to the early phase. Since the Mountain Dragon and the Cloud Dragon are the first two dragon objective, we can wait for a bit, wait for the Infernal Dragon before we go in for the hyper-aggressive type of game style. Now, Xianyo, you saw it happen 11 minutes into the game, wherein they already have their first core items built up and now building into their second one.
Yeah, that's the thing. One team is still waiting a little bit for Ninja 7 to complete his Infinity Force. Infinity Edge. Infinity Force. Did I just combine two items? Infinity Edge. He's still sitting at the RFC. A little bit of...
Oh, 2v1 is going to be the ball breaker coming in, but Assault and Battery Taku will go for the body slam, but the body slam will not be fit for the distance that it requires. One team esports will get their first kill of this game.
That's what we're talking about. Get a pick, then get an ideal 4v5 situation, maybe get a tower in, or maybe do that before the dragon. But Cerberus...
Faye actually just diving in. The GA will put him at a good spot because you have the revive potential when you go all in. But now, no kills will still be done as one team esports looks from mid lane. Vault Breaker will go into Nami as Nami forces out the tidal wave, connecting onto two as you have Cerberus Esports now haggling under their turret because the damage is just too much.
Yeah, that is the window expiring already. Taku has respawned already. Therefore, one team is not able to find a secondary pick to open up more space for them to take possibly the bottom portion of the map. Good news is though they were able to at least remove top first tier tower on top side. So it is still pretty okay. Cerberus though still has that gold lead for themselves.
Massive push here for Cerberus Esports, letting them secure the third turret for their team and now securing the map control as well, as the jungle will be open for them in their two quadrants of the enemy team.
Yeah, I feel like, one team is a little bit pressured now. The fact that FaZe still has that Guardian Angel unpopped, that's the reason why they've been lurking around, seeing if they can kill the jungler before Infernal spawns, or at least kill or pop off that Guardian Angel before Infernal, because it's going to be definitely juicy. Both of these teams would love that. Cerberus now counting towards their third dragon. One team a little bit pressured now.
Oh, but FaZe is just sort of scouting out the jungle camps of One Team Esports, putting away how Vi wants to go for the blue buff because of the potential steal that FaZe can do. Especially now that the Infernal Drake is alive, you cannot afford to go for those costly risks if ever that Cerberus Esports wants to go all in. Considering that they have the 4K gold lead at the moment, they need to chill out a bit. Now the Baron Nashor will be alive, Infernal Dragon will be as well.
This is going to be one of those, I wouldn't call it a last stand, but one team is equipped and ready. We saw Ninja 7 already has that IE. Talking about resets over here.
And we might see a setup from Cerberus Esports. Explosive catch out to connect onto anyone. And that will be Xianyo forced back away. He's 1 HP. That's gonna be Nami. Force a flash as well, as he is pretty much low. BMM used out the stasis because there is everyone looking to kill him. And that will be One Team Esports securing 1 kill. But Cerberus Esports has the HP advantage. One Team Esports, every single one of them is 1 HP as well. The Infernal Drake is looking to go to the hands of Cerberus Esports, as one team looks to go tier 1 instead to get that security in terms of gold, and there will be a trade in terms of objectives.
But that's the third dragon already for Cerberus. This is such complete control. Props to BMM for 1v4ing, stalling as Faye was focusing on the dragon. Also Genza, his pokes are absolutely insane. One team, Xianyo was forced to use the assault and battery as a defensive maneuver instead of picking someone off, as he was forced by BMM basically on that engage. And one team pushed to a corner this time around, and unfortunately now that they have to play around this top portion of the map where Cerberus will be primed in sort of taking this and using it as bait.
Definitely. I think One Team Esports is playing very conservatively, wherein they have Monsoon from CU. How can they use this and utilize this when they don't go for the 5v5? And I think that is something the One Team Esports need to take note, because we're now down into the 15-minute mark, the 16-minute mark, wherein every single one of you guys are already building up into your third core item, especially with Baron Nashor now alive. It's looking to be very valuable to really go in for those 5v5, goes for the pickoffs, and now it's going to be happening for Cerberus Esports. Went in for the Death Rush. The Tidal Wave all connect onto everyone as they are going in for the choke point. And now One Team Esports will force back away as they're going for the 3v5. And Cerberus Esports will get the numbers advantage.
That is exactly what we were talking about 2 seconds ago. Cerberus is definitely going to use the Baron to bait out one team, as the map is definitely map control is in their favor. But now it's Ninja 7.
Oh, he's just gonna die in blink of an eye. But we still have Garen Kid coming through. He wants to get that vision, but BMM is zoning them out. It's gonna be Nami going into the lock, and we will see another kill for Cerberus Esports as they get the Baron Nashor.
Look at that! The bubble into the body slam and vice versa. It is just so painful. And unfortunately, that's how much lockdown Cerberus has. And Ninja 7 with Flash, with Rocket Jump, couldn't do anything. And with that said, This is looking to be Cerberus's game right now from the beginning up until now into the 17-minute mark, as one team is trying their best to stall, but at the same time, their options are very, very limited at the moment because, again, when it comes to 5v5s, Cerberus has that in the bag. This team comp is definitely built for that. And at the moment, for one team, this is the opportunity where they cannot find any stragglers. They can't take a pick on BMM just because he's so huge at the moment. And one team has to expend so many resources. And once they want to defend, they basically have no options left.
And look at the patience of Cerberus Esports. You know what? Let's not dive in. We understand we have the Baron buff. If we dive in, there is a potential that we get slain and we lose those Baron buff. And now they're just sitting under the bush, waiting for the right opportunity and waiting for those minion waves to come by itself. But now it's going to be the Assault and Battery connecting onto Lee Sin. Lee Sin will go back away as Faye looks to go for more. He wants to go for the turret. He will get it. And Cerberus Esports will secure their 5th turret into the game. Inhibitor turret will now be the next target into the mid lane as one team esports needs to defend. 500 HP remaining. That will be too little to go for the defense as BMM goes to the bottom lane inhibitor turret. You need to split your manpower if you want to go for the defense onto both lanes. As now it's going to be Kid trying to go for the minion wave clear, but the whirlwind will not be enough. The mid lane inhibitor turret will now be opened up. Cerberus Esports will now get the security onto the natural lane, pressure into the mid lane. It's now going to be BMM forced to back away as everyone is coming through. But that is just a bait. Cerberus Esports got another inhibitor turret into the Baron lane, and they're diving under the base. They want to finish the game, but not for now as they come back with the Ocean Drake Elder Dragon now alive.
Look at that, the base of one team is now open. Cerberus again using BMM as a hotspot to force one team to expend so many resources. One team is forced to lose these towers. And again, Cerberus is playing this so well. They're not greedy, they're very reserved. They only do what they need to do. Now one team starting up this Elder Drake, there's a teleport.
Ooh, TP, no information, but they're diving in. They don't care about information. It's now going to be the special delivery coming on top of the hill. It's going to be Cerberus Esports getting the steal onto the Elder Ocean Dragon. And now they're trying to get the security onto the champions of one team esports, as that will be Xianyo falling to the ground, as Kid will be the only one remaining to go for the defense, as Cerberus Esports will get all the dragons in the game.
That is gonna be an almost ace, as Kid is the only one left to defend. This is Cerberus, complete control, hovering over the Nexus.
Now they're coming into the base, they're trying to finish the game. Kid will be the only one remaining. Enough damage to secure the win. And Cerberus Esports will come up on top for the very first game in day 2.
That is so crazy. When we looked at the panel earlier, it was one esports. Even when we were talking off cast, Impunity, we were predicting it would be one esports taking this game up against Cerberus. But now, because these two teams were tied in their groups, it is now Cerberus taking that helm, sitting at the tippity top. With that said, look at this scoreboard, a very low kill score. It's because, you know, one team had a difficult time finding these opportunities in the early game, try to exchange things off of the map to sort of stabilize the gold, make sure that there is no gap. But at time and time again, one team unfortunately couldn't find these picks, as Cerberus was basically a one-man unit.
And I think this is exceeding the first blood count from what we saw yesterday. It was 8 minutes, and now I think it went up to 9 minutes, 10 minutes of the match before we even saw the first bloods coming through. And this is how patient they are, you know, considering that they are a late game composition. And even Cerberus Esports as well, having Genza onto the Corki, needs the 2-4 item power spike onto the Manamune and also onto the Trinity Force. And having that patience game for Cerberus Esports went very well, because in the third game, they got the Mountain Dragon and the Cloud Dragon.